Okay, ladies, practical session. So, for those that don't know, not only am I married to a chef, but my daughter is also a chef. So I'll never be slim, so it's okay. But I'll eat well, so all good. So we're going to go in the practical session, and my beautiful daughter, Erin, is going to show you a couple of tricks in terms of garnishing. So the camera is going to go onto the table, so you can just watch the screens, okay?
Okay. Hi, everyone. So as Mom said, I'm Erin. I'm a chef. I've just been given a new job at MultiChoice with DSTV. And I'm going to show you garnishing and plating ideas. So the first thing I'm doing in my hand is a tomato rose. So you need to take your time with this. You cannot rush it. But what you want to do is you want to basically peel your tomato, and then you'll end up with something like that. And then you take the end and you start rolling it, and you just follow it. That's why it needs to be very thin. But you want to take your time, because if you don't, it breaks and then it doesn't look like a rose. And there we go, your first garnishing. I don't know where to point this.
Don't move too much. There you go.
I'm trying not to, I swear. So there you go.
You ladies can come and look at it afterwards. We'll leave it displayed on the table.
So the next one I'm going to do, because obviously chocolate cools down very quickly. It's already cooling down. You take your melted chocolate, and we all know if you've ever worked with chocolate, chocolate is very temperamental. You're going to take your melted chocolate, cut a little hole in it. I've cut it a bit thicker just so you can see it. And you take your plate and you just basically do any pattern, swirl it, and you end up with this for desserts. And that you can put your, I'm going to do, there's your first plating done. Now I'm going to garnish this later, but there's your first plating dish for the morning done. I'm now going to start with the stuff I've already cut. So I'm going to show you this technique later, but if you take an onion, okay, if you take an onion and you cut basically zigzags, so you take an onion, cut zigzags, and you end up with a flower. Then if you want to, you can, I'm moving a lot, I'm sorry. You can then take some paprika, dip the corners and the edges in, and you end up with a onion flower. Now, an easy, but it looks complicated, so just bear with me. If you take a grapefruit or you can do it with lemon, any citrus fruit, you peel it. I've already cut it in half because I did it, and you segment it. So if you look, you've got these little segments in your citrus fruit. You cut along those, pull it out, and you end up with a clean segment. I don't know where the camera is. There we go. You end up with a clean segment, and you do that a couple times. You've got your orange segments, your grapefruit, you can do lemon segments, you can do any citrus fruit, you can do segments. And then on your plate later, oh, I'll do it now. You can then layer it. So you do like a flower almost. There we go. While we're on the lines of this, what you can also do with patterns like this on your plates is you take thinly sliced cucumber and thinly sliced tomato, and you take it and you layer it. And then you've got a border of tomato and cucumber to line one quarter of your plate. And then talking about cucumber and tomato, you can make a little flower with tomato by just cutting the skin off. So make 4 incisions, cutting those to make like your thin flower petals, cutting them in half and adding some cucumber. And you've got another type of tomato flower. Then you take your melon baller, I've got one somewhere, and you take your cucumber, you ball it, and you've got a little stand. I don't know where, there we go. On the topic of flowers, another flower you can do. You take your spring onion, you cut off the leafy part and just keep the roots. And you take your knife, please be careful with knives because knives are very dangerous and very sharp. And you cut it, just lines everywhere, all the way around. You then, once you've cut it, you've put it in water. And it creates a flower. Where's the camera? There we go. If you want to make, so it's normally if you can keep it in water overnight, it works well, but I did this like 10 minutes ago and put it in water with ice, and it will move it up immediately. I'm swapping between savory and sweet, sorry.
Sorry, Erin. So it automatically does it when you put water?
Yes. And you can, even with, if you cut, if you take your carrot, and you can get these anywhere, it's just easier, you make julienne strips. Like that. If you, I keep losing the camera, there we go. If you then, lower.
If you're working lower to the board the whole time, then I won't be jumping.
Okay. So you take that and then you also put that in ice water. It will actually curl them as well. And then you've got these nice little carrot curls.
Show me.
I've put it in water, I'll show you when. 10 minutes, 5 minutes, depends how cold your water is. So I'll show you as soon as it's done. And then it's plating. Do I have time for like 2 plating? Okay. Then the last one I'm going to show is I'm working near the board, is a strawberry fan. So you cut your strawberry in half. You can take away the green bushy piece. I prefer to keep it just because it looks pretty for me. You then take it and you slice it quite thinly, but not all the way through. fan it out, and you've got a strawberry fan. You can also do that if you cut it into a quarter. Do the same concept of it. It just creates a smaller fan, and for your smaller, like your tarts and your smaller things. Now I'm going to show you. Let's do two plating ideas. I'm going to specifically do sweet because I've showed you a savory one. I'm trying to be loud as well. You take a very runny mixture. I'm just doing like this raspberry thick topping sauce. You put it as a line on your plate, and you put your plate down, and you let it just naturally drip the way it drips. And you'll see it starts creating lines and starts creating your drips. If you want more, you can add also different colors. You can add, I've got condensed milk. And you just let it drip naturally, and it'll create a nice look. And then you can take your desserts and you can put it either on, like I would normally put it on the side, or you can put it at the bottom and create like a platter thing. You can see there's all different speeds, all different sizes. What you can also do, I'm not going to show it, but what you can do is you take a very like a not so thick sauce and a not sticky sauce. You put it in the center of your plate, you take a spoon and you smash it. Just let your anger out and you smash it. Just don't break the plate. And it creates this nice kind of splatter look on it. And another thing you do is you put a line, you take your, put a small dot, you take a pastry brush or a brush, and you just take the brush and you swipe it, and it'll create this nice textured line. The last one I'm going to show you is cocoa powder, but I'm going to make an indent of a spoon and a fork.
We'll take a question or two if anyone has, quickly.
Obviously, I'm explaining quite well because there's no questions. So you can see I've put a spoon and a fork down. I'm now taking cocoa powder in a sieve. Just going to do it there. And you lightly dust around this fork and spoon, like that. And then you can do that with if you've got a savory dish, you do it with paprika or another. So I've just got another spice. I just have paprika there, so it's the first thing on my mind. And you do it with a knife and fork. It works as well. So it's just the concept of taking your powder and you do a different technique on it. Yeah.
Thank you, Erin. Any questions? Who's hosting the next meal?
Can we hire Erin to do our dinner parties?
Right, then the next practical one is the amazing middle sister, Vash, who's going to take us through macrame.
Good morning, ladies. How are you? Well, I hope you've been enjoying the morning so far. It's been amazing and just a wonderful time of ministry. And I think like even for us in the coffee shop who's just been setting up, just being able to still listen to the worship and the message, I think even us have been so ministered. So I just pray as well that you guys are just enjoying it. So today, ladies, we are going to be making a macrame. Some people say macrame, potato, potato, data, data. I call it macrame. Okay, so today we are going to be making a macrame. A macrame looks like this. So this is my lovely assistant Zikona, Z for short. So we are going to be making a 10-minute macrame. So what's nice about a hanging plant in your house is that if you don't have that counter space, or maybe your house is a bit smaller and you just can't have that pot plant on the floor, you can use your ceiling space and make a macrame. You could use any plant that you want. You could put some herbs and spices. You could put some flowers that maybe would creep over. And certain plants actually adapt as they grow out of you could even do succulents and they would eventually fall over and grow. Another thing that you could do is, if the neighbor, I'm that person who's like, oh, can I have okay, you guys all know Jay, right? So in her garden, she's got these little plants. I was like, oh, can I have a shoot of that? And she'll bring a whole lot of shoots for me. So I was down in Pietermaritzburg earlier in the year, and my aunt actually has this pot plant in her lounge, but it literally creeps in a circular way. And it's so beautiful. So I was like, Mosi, now Mosi means auntie in Hindi. I was like, Mosi, can I have a slip? Can I have a stem? And so Mosi was so kind, and so she gave me a stem, and it's getting there, ladies. Hey, look at my plants. So there's inexpensive ways where you could just add some plant and some prettiness to your home without spending a fortune. So today's craft, I forgot my page, so I'm going to borrow someone's page. Sorry. Thank you. Okay. So on your tables, ladies, for today's craft, you are going to be needing, one plastic pot. You could buy a clay pot or whatever your choice is. You're going to be needing some tape, some string. This is just your normal twine. You could use jute. Jute is like a more raw, a more of a Hessian type of string. That's one of my favorites. You're going to need a pair of scissors, okay? So something interesting I learned while shopping for pots for you was that if you can picture a normal plastic pot, it normally has 3 holes in it, right? That pot is more for like a pot that you would place with a saucer underneath it to collect the water. This pot that you have on your table, you would notice it has much finer holes. So you could use it for your hanging plants because the water is not going to drain straight through it. You're going to put if you put a plant in, you're going to put a base of stones, then you're going to put your soil, and then obviously your plant. But these tiny holes actually slows down the water from completely running through the plant. So, clever. Okay, so today what you're going to do is your instruction sheet, okay? So what I'm going to do this morning is I'm going to do a quick talk through how to make your craft, and then around your table, you're going to have a yak with your friends, and you're going to make it on your own, okay? So the first thing we're going to do is, all right, so you are going to need your string, which has been so kindly cut by Zikona for you, okay? And Aria, the way team. So thank you, Aria and Zikona. So when you are making your macrame, you can decide on the length that you would like it to be. So it could be a short one like I've just made in this one, or it could be a much longer one depending on how you would like it. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take you don't have to do this measurement, it's already been done for you. You would take your string, woo! You would take your string and you are going to measure it into 8 equal pieces. So Zikona is just going to show you how you would quickly measure your string into 8 equal pieces. So that's already 2. Should I hold for you? 3. Okay, so you just keep going. This is the quickest way to measure equally and to cut, and so until you get to 8 strings, okay? Once you are done with your 8 strings, you're going to use this one. You're going to cut off your strings into 8 equal pieces, and then you are going to put them all together. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So once you have all your 8 strings together, you are going to, at the top of the whole cluster of strings, or you are going to make a knot, okay? So Sikona is going to make a knot for us. And that's the start of your macrame. Okay, ladies, there are just various types of macrames that you can make. So I've chosen something that is not the most simple one, but it's a simple and prettier one. There are just so many different styles out there. You could braid it, you could plait it, you could like crochet it. There's, if you know how to crochet, there's even knitted ones that you could make. So if you had to Google the macrame, there's just various options. Like my mom made one for my office because my office doesn't also have a lot of space. So she made 2 hanging plants for me, and she braided it, and it is so pretty. So there's just options. You could add beads to it. You could add color. You could add different color strands to it, just your own taste, okay? So once you are done, you would have your 8 strings with a knot on the top, okay? So if you had to look at your pot, okay, your pot has a center, and it has 4 stripes or quarters going down, right? Okay. You are going to take your knot and you are going to place it in the center of your pot. Okay, in the center of your pot. All right. So that there is instruction number 3 and 4. You would see how to place your knot on the center of your pot. Knot and pot rhymes, hey? Okay, so in instruction 3 and 4, you would see how to place the knot in the center of your pot, okay? Then what you are going to do is with your 8 strands of string, you're going to divide them into 2s, and you're going to put them on each quarter of your pot. You would see it in instruction 4 and 5, okay? Then you're going to place a tape over it. Okay, this is simple. After you have done that, ladies, Shame, you don't have to figure it all right now. When I stop talking, then you can figure it out. Okay. So once your knot is in the center of your pot, you're going to tape your strings around your pot. So you see it's not going to fall. Okay. You have your table space to make knots. I'm going to just have Zikona to hold this for me to show you how you're going to start knotting. Okay, Mike. Okay. So if you had to look at your pots, you're going to have 2 strands on either side. You're going to make them become friends. Make your knots become friends, and then you're going to go knotting around your pot. Okay, so your picture shows you how to knot your pot. Okay. So your pot will start looking like with little knots around. You do the same thing on the second round of knots. So if you turn over your page, you will see the instruction in number 6, 7, and then you will end up with all of your knots, and you will make your final knots in number 8. Okay. So if you turn over your page, you will see how to do your final knot. Once you are done, sorry, can you hold this for me? Okay. Okay. Okay, ladies, once you are done with all of your knots, this literally is actually going to take you under 10 minutes, and it is 10 knots. 10 knots under 10 minutes gives you a hanging plant, ladies. So I hope you enjoy. If you need any help, just shout Vosh, shout Zikona, and we'll come and help you. Enjoy making your macrame.
Many of you are running corporate jobs. Some of you are stay-at-home moms with kids. I am homeschool my 4 children. Um, my oldest is 11 and my youngest is 3. And I also work at North Point. And I do some writing for our homeschool forum, whatever. So I'm pretty busy. And one of the things that I've found is that in order to run my life effectively, I need to be organized, right? And one of the things that was really killing me at a stage was going to the freezer at 4 p.m. and saying, oh my goodness, what are we having for dinner tonight? And it just adds this mental load and this strain that is just not healthy. So I'm going to share with you how I run our lives, just because it's nice to see the way that they do it. I in no way expect that you do it exactly the same that I do. But maybe you have been battling with flip now. I'm at Spar again on the way home from work. What am I buying? What am I doing? And so I just wanted to give you a little insight into how I've tackled this. And maybe you can use some of it, even if you don't use all of it, to help you in your everyday home management and life management. So this is what I start with. So I do my planning on a Sunday afternoon, so we are usually very tired after church on a Sunday morning. Gus is often here from very early in the morning. And so we come to church. We don't have life group on a Sunday. We have it on a Tuesday. So we head home after church on a Sunday, and I feed everybody. This is another hack. Let me just give it to you. I usually put a roast chicken in the oven in the morning before we leave church at 160. And if you set it like that, it won't burn by the time you get back from church. So we have a roast chicken almost every Sunday because it cooks while we're at church, get home, feed the kids. They're having proper nutritional food, because I can't lie, sometimes it's hot dogs, but usually it's chicken. But then we all eat quickly, and then we're all on our beds by 12:30. The kids have to lie down for at least half an hour. And that's what our Sunday afternoons look like. And then as I get myself towards myself, I get out our homeschool planning for the week, and I plan myself, plan what the kids have going on, plan meals, so that it's all taken care of by the time that the week starts again. So I've also heard of another lady. She likes to use a Friday afternoon for that. So she's like, look, she's a working person, and she is like, most people are knocking off on Friday afternoon. There's not very much more that you can get done, in her opinion. I don't know. But so she uses a Friday afternoon to just plan for the week ahead in terms of work, in terms of what's going on in her house, etc. So see if you can find a way to do it. Anyway, the way that I have structured it, again, use it in a way that's most helpful for you. I'm sure many of you can administrate me under a table. So, but this is how mine works. So I have a schedule like this every week, a blank one. And my blocks work that I've got an early morning and a sort of mid-morning. So it would be I wake up at 5:30, and my kids are usually, or we start school between 8 and 8:30. So my first block would be 5:30 until 8:30. And what do I need to get done in that time? So in that time, obviously, my quiet time, exercise if I can. Can't say I do that every day, but I try to. Maybe to read a chapter of a book. I know that's something that I'm endeavoring to do. As a busy mom, I hardly ever put down my screen and lift a book, but it's actually very good for us to do that. So even a page. Challenge yourselves. That's what I get up to. Obviously, then it's the breakfast run, shower for me. All of that stuff goes in that first block. So everything done by 8:30. Again, this isn't in stone. If you've had a terrible night with a sick kid, then that just falls away. Or you do part of it. You look at it, but it just helps me to know that everything's got its place, that I don't have to be worrying, because I am a planner and I keep everything in my head. And sometimes I just find that if I just write it on a piece of paper, I don't have to carry it here anymore. As Tammy was just helping me with the stress in my neck and my jaw, and that's literally it. It's because I carry everything. Anyway, so then my second channel in the morning is our school slot. So for me, that's 8:30 until 1. And that literally every week just says school, 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 school. But at least I know that that's what I'm doing in those slots. And obviously that changes when you're on holiday. Then I've got an early afternoon slot and a late afternoon slot, and then the evening. So early afternoon, in my home, I've still got small children. I've got a 3-year-old, this is my baby, and we still have quiet time. All of my kids go onto their beds after lunchtime, and they have to be in their rooms for half an hour. They don't have to sleep, and they don't have to or they go into their bedrooms. Kaya still has a nap. But the bigger kids, it's just to give them downtime as well. It's good for our children to learn to rest and to just not be on devices, etc. So for half an hour, everybody just goes to their rooms. Admittedly, we are a homeschooling family, so sometimes mom needs that half an hour to herself more than children need it. And they do give a fight sometimes, but it also becomes like the rhythm of your home. So now they know, oh, we've had lunch, off to our rooms we go. My big boy plays Lego, reads a book, whatever. So that's the rhythm of our home. I know it isn't necessarily that for you. I'm just giving you this because it's been so helpful for me to then be able to say, oh, I need to write a blog article. So I'm going to put that on Thursday early morning. I'll get up at 5:30 and I'll do an hour of work. And then I know that it's done on that day. Anyway, and then late afternoon is often our tidy up the house, get ready for dad to come home, get stuff ready for tomorrow if there's anything happening, etc. And then obviously the evenings I will put down prayer meeting on a Wednesday, life group on a Tuesday evening, Thursday night dad's at band, Gus is at band, Friday night Jack's at Trailblazers, Thursday afternoon Jack's got piano, etc. So that it's all on my page so that I can see, oh, I need to make sure that this is happening, etc. Okay, so you just put down whatever is happening in the week, first of all. That's what I do. So I run my diary. I've got a diary in my handbag that I carry with me constantly, and that gets everything. So if Tammy says, oh, can we have a coffee? Then I'll write it on that calendar, my month calendar. But then I transfer what's on my month calendar onto my weekly plan. So say, oh yeah, Tammy said I was going to see her on whatever day, Monday afternoon. So I'll put that in. Oh, that was early afternoon. I'm seeing Tammy. Then what I do, Kyle, can you move to the next slide, please, friend? I take what I've then planned on that one, and I use this weekly meal plan. So then onto this, I will put, Wednesday night we've got prayer meeting. Let's say Tuesday night I've got life group and I'm doing the meal. Wednesday night prayer meeting. Let's say Friday we get together with all the homeschoolers in the morning. So I put all of that stuff that I've just written down on my planner onto here. Because then what I can do is, let's say I'm planning Wednesday night's meal. I know that we've got to be at prayer meeting by 6:30. So I'm not going to plan to do a 3-course meal with sides for Wednesday night. Wednesday night has to be super quick. I need to be able to make it quickly, feed everybody quickly, and get out the door, And so this is literally what I do. Every week, we run on our breakfasts, run on a rotation. So that kind of takes care of itself. I don't usually fill in the breakfast column. We just do the same thing every Monday, the same thing every Tuesday, the same thing every Wednesday. But lunch and dinner and snacks I plan every week. And there's a bunch of ways that you can do it. I don't want to prescribe to you how you can do it. I've taken to doing it seasonally. So it's just been easier for me to do it this way. I used to just come up with meals. But I recently have been it's been winter. So stews and soups are wonderful because you can just shove them in the slow cooker or just put them on the stove and leave them. And so in this season, we've done a lot of soup and a lot of stew, which I wouldn't have on my menu in summer. In summer, it's more like salads and smoothies and that kind of thing. So I myself plan 2 menus that I use as a guideline, and that's nice because I can also use fresh ingredients. So whatever's available and cheap at the shops, I can buy those things in that season. And then I literally just rotate them. So sometimes, like for example, like we'd have wraps on a Tuesday, but we've got life group on Tuesday, and this week Tammy's preparing, so that would just be scrapped. I'd just take that out, but it takes the mental load out of having to think every week, like, oh, now I need 7 dinners. Okay, let me think, what are we gonna do? How am I gonna? I've also found that this really helps me to be more intentional with our fresh produce. In other words, it's easy to go and buy like a box of chicken or chicken nuggets from the shop, but actually if I'm thinking through ahead of time what I need, I can often squeeze in more fruits and vegetables because I've planned it ahead of time. So it's really helped us to eat much more healthily. Anyway, so then I just copy onto my meal plan what's happening on those different nights, and then I literally just put it together. I wanted to say to you, so some ladies that I know plan their whole month like this at one time so that you don't have to think about it for 30 days. I find that way too overwhelming. I can't keep up with it. There's too many variables in our lives and too many things that change. But I don't know if you know Pinterest, but you can just also Google, like, what are theme nights? So some ladies theme their nights. So you could make every Monday night like Meatless Monday, for example. So you could do things that don't have any meat in, and I know that sounds overwhelming for those of us who aren't vegetarian, but things like macaroni cheese, that's a meatless Monday, for example. There's other cute ones like slow cooker Sunday, leftover Fridays from what you've had the week before, healthy homemade takeout, you know. So you can approach it any way you want to. As I say, I do it seasonally, so I plan 2 menus for autumn, and then we just rotate them. And if everybody's getting bored of something, or in my house when you have 4 kids, everybody's got an opinion on every meal. So if there's really a meal that's not going down well, then I'll replace it with something else. It's not like you're set in stone with that. But it's really, really helped me. And then what I do, Kyle, will you put up that picture again? Sorry, precious. See there on the side, it's got my list. So what I do is, as I'm planning, I've already checked my freezer and my fridge, so I know what meat, for example, I've got in the freezer. Then I'll say, oh yeah, I've planned hamburgers, but I don't have patties. So then as I'm planning what meal I'm putting in, I'm putting on my list burger patties and rolls, and we also need lettuce, kind of thing. So that's how I do it. And then I take that to the shops. I'm fortunate my mother-in-law looks after our kids on a Tuesday for me. And so on a Tuesday, I then go to the grocery store and I buy all the ingredients that I need for that week. So, I mean, that's a simple, practical thing. All of these meal plans, we actually are going to send you a little digital, I don't know, what would we call it? Like pamphlet pack, resource pack. Good, that's lovely, thank you. And I'll include these, but I literally just went on to Google and Googled weekly meal plan, and that came up. So it's, I mean, I didn't even create that one. And that one's particularly ugly as well. I was just looking at it today because I was looking at some other prettier ones. I was like, oh, I really need to make that look pretty. But it's very functional. It does what it needs to, etc. So let me encourage you. The other thing that we've really found is that then when I'm at the shops, I've got a list of what we need. I know that I'm prepared, like I've got everything in stock for whatever meals we have that week, but it also means that I'm not just faffing around the shops buying whatever. So it's actually really been a good budget help in our home, because I think the more you're at the shops, the more you're inclined to spend, hey? And so if you're popping in, oh, I'm just going to pop in and get bread and milk and whatever, every day, you tend to pick up stuff that you don't need or, need. The other, one more tip from me, and this is only obviously if you've got the space, and but we've also taken to like ordering our big groceries from Macro. If you order past a certain amount, they offer free delivery. And so that's been really helpful recently. We've only just implemented that. But I buy a lot of our dry ingredients from them, and then it just gets delivered to my house. And then that means that my weekly shop is much smaller because I'm literally almost only buying fresh ingredients. So I hope that helps. Feel free to ask me any questions that you have. I'm not an aficionado. I'm just telling you what I do and how we run our house. But I do know that it's really brought me such respite from having that, oh no, it's 4 o'clock, what am I feeding everybody kind of thing. It really is so helpful to have it all planned and sorted out for you. So I hope that's helpful.